Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Shadow Stitch, and I like solo running Pokemon Black and White. So last week we took on the game with Zebstrika. I had a ton of fun with it, despite it not really performing that well. So we're gonna go ahead and bring in the tier list right here. We do see it landed itself at the bottom of the D tier, but I still think that it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of stuff about the game, and I think it made for a pretty decent video. So go check that one out if you haven't already. All the other Pokemon on the tier list right here do have videos on the channel, so if you see anything that piques your interest, there's a playlist down below, and they'll be at the end of the video as well. But stick around, because today we are going to be running with Audino. So Audino, of course, is a pure normal type. It's kind of like the Chansey of this generation. It gives out a lot of experience whenever you randomly run into it in a shaky grass or something like that, which is really nice. So yeah, it's a pretty decent little niche Pokemon for you in the running context as a wild Pokemon. But how's it going to do as a runner? Honestly, I don't really know, because we have really solid defenses. 103 HP is great with 86 in both defenses. So it can definitely take a hit, but the offenses are a bit lackluster. Only 60 in both and 50 in speed makes it slow and not really hit that hard. But you know, there's a lot more to a Pokemon than just the stats. The ability, however, though, not really going to be helping us out too much here. We went with Regenerators, so if we ever get forced out with Whirlwind or Dragon Tail or something like that, we could potentially heal ourselves. But, you know, that's a super niche situation, and it's probably not going to come up very much, if at all. However, I will still take it over the completely useless ability for the most part in Healer. That was our other option, so at least, you know, we have something going for us there. The move pool wise, we have pretty much what you'd expect from a, you know, just basic normal type like this. We got Pound, Growl, Helping Hand, and Refresh to start, and we'll eventually pick up things like Double Slap, Secret Power, Double Edge later on for normal type moves, and just a whole bunch of random status moves that are really not going to be coming into play too often. So, however, as the normal type is known for, it has a very good TM move pool. So we got, of course, the big hitters like Return, Work Up, which are great and gives us excellent options there. And then even on the coverage options, we got Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Grass Knot. We even get Surf as an HM, which is really solid. And then if we want to look into the post-game things, even things like Flamethrower and Ice Beam, Psychic. So it has a ton of options on the TM side, which is really solid. And I think that's definitely the big selling point of a Pokemon like Audino. It just has excellent coverage, which is cool. So is that going to be enough for it to get a solid time, though? Honestly, I don't really know, because those offenses might be holding it back a little too much. However, you see the rules on the screen right now. You can check the description for more niche things. But for now, let's go ahead and get into the run and see how Audino does. As usual, we preload our solo Pokemon into the run before it even begins. This allows us to change the IV's nature, all that fun stuff that we want. We're going to be going ahead and taking the Snivy line. This is going to be giving Sharon the Emboar line, which will eventually be Fighting type, and Bianca the Oshawott line. So in the spirit of the game, we're giving Sharon the advantage, which is pretty usual. So nothing too crazy, though. I don't really think that the rival battles are going to be a huge impact in this game, as long as we get our decent coverage options. So yeah, as for our nature, we chose to go with a naive nature this time around. This is going to drop our special defense but increase our speed. If you remember with the stats, we didn't really have the best base speed, only 50. It's not terrible. It's definitely better than something like Reuniclus had, but it's not really winning any races for sure. So with the naive nature, we're able to make up for that a little bit, and we don't really take too many strong special hits that are life-threatening throughout the run. Something else, though, that's very interesting with Audino is it's going to be a fast growth rate. This is actually a very rare growth rate in Generation 5. Not a lot of Pokemon actually have it when I went and looked through the list. So Audino is going to be our first and one of the very few Pokemon that we run with the fast growth rate. Ironically enough, fast is technically not even the best growth rate, despite the name. Something like medium slow actually levels up a lot faster in the early game, but it is probably the second best growth rate for this series, which is pretty solid. I will definitely take it. It's going to be leveling up pretty quickly in the early games here. So as we make it through the rest of this, we're going to do all of our chores, talk to Juniper at the Pokemon Center, beat up N. He's not really an issue. He's a little bit grindy, sure, but we can easily take him out, and we head out towards Route 2. We take out all the trainers on the way through Route 2, and we meet up with Bianca at the end, and we already see the fast growth rate in action as we're going to level up into 10 at halfway through her battle. So we're going to pick up Double Slap. It's not the best move in the world. Of course, it is a multi-hit move, so while it has terrible accuracy, it's pretty much going to be equal to Pound if we only hit twice, which we do this time around. But it is going to be our best option right now if we want to get even better damage. So in Striaton City, we're going to stop by the back alley, grab the Dusk Ball, head into the Dream Yard, take out all the trainers in here, and grab our monkey. Then we're going to stop by the trainer school, where Sharon is also not really going to be much of a problem. We have a significant level advantage over him right now, and we can head straight into the gym. Alright, so we face off with Chili. Chili is usually actually the hardest of these three because we can't really rely on something like an Oranberry because his Pansear has Incinerate. So Double Slap's going to come out. We're actually going to hit a decent amount of times on the Lillipup and take it out. We're only getting 2 taps on the Pansear, but eventually we break through with a 3-tap, get a critical hit, and we easily win our first gym badge right there, bringing us up to level 14 as well, which is nice. So there we go, first gym badge. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here, get contracted by Fennel, beat up a couple dudes in the Dream Yard and get all of her science stuff that she wants, and then we can move on and continue to Route 3. As we enter into Route 3, we're going to stop by the preschool, and we see another downside of Double Slap. It has really low PP, so we haven't actually healed in a little while, and we're going to go for it on the Munna, and we completely miss. So even though we critical hit with a Pound on the following turn, we get put to sleep by the Yawn. So it doesn't really do anything, though, thankfully, and we're able to knock it out. We're going to take out the rest of the preschoolers here. They give pretty decent experience. We can grab the Ultra Ball in the sandbox, heal up at the house, and then take on Sharon. Yeah, Sharon's not really going to be much of a problem, despite us having to rely on Double Slap for decent damage. We actually picked up Work Up as well from our first gym badge. So we're going to go ahead, do a couple workups, and we finally get an actually decent Double Slap with 4 hits onto the Tepig, powering through its Oranberry, and there we go. So we're going to chase the Plasma dudes into Wellspring Cave to pick up a couple HM friends, pick up the glitched rare candy over here on Route 3, and then head into Nakreen City. As we enter into Nakreen City, Sharon's going to hook us up with some Chesto berries, which are going to be very useful later on, and we can head into Pinwheel Forest. So this is going to be a really great place for us to train. We have the nurse trainer right here as we enter. She's not really going to be that big of a deal, and we can take care of her and heal up our Pokemon, top off our PP and all of that. So we usually catch a Timpole in here to be our HM friend for Surf, but because I'm fully expecting Audino to need Surf for coverage purposes, I'm actually not going to be doing that, so we just need a box filler in a random pit of, which is pretty cool. So we do have to be careful a little bit of the black belt trainers at the end, but we're able to pick up a couple ethers, gain some solid experience, and then we can head back towards the city. Back at the Pokemon Center, we're going to go ahead and deposit our team. It's very possible that we might have to do some blackout grinding on Lenora, but it also helps us skip a double battle in the future, which is not mandatory. So we're going to spend our money on some items right here, picking up some super potions for later, and then we're going to take out N. He's not really going to be too much of a problem, thankfully, despite him having a Timber as well, and we can head straight into the gym. On our way through the gym, on the final trainer, we do finally level up to 20 over a nice damage rounding threshold, but also learning the move Secret Power, which we're going to go ahead and put over Double Slap. No more shenanigans that we have to worry about there. This is a pretty solid 70 base power move, and it does have differing effects depending on the terrain that you're in. Currently right now it's going to cause paralysis, so it's basically like a weaker body slam at this point, which is pretty nice. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready for Lenora, put on a Chesto Berry, and take her on. All right, let's go Lenora. So she does have Intimidate on her lead herdier. We are going to be using physical attacks, so we're going to try to make up for that with some workups though. So we're going to work up a couple times. Thankfully, she actually misses a takedown, which is really cool, and 1+2 Secret Power is going to come out. So, however, we do have pretty bad speed, which means that the Watch Up is going to outspeed us, knock us out with a Retaliate, and we do take a Blackout. However, this is pretty much expected with a lot of Pokemon against Lenora, so we're going to take that Blackout, take the experience, and give it another shot. Alright, take 2 Lenora, let's see how it goes. So, same deal, we're just going to work up a couple times, take a few takedowns. It goes for Leer this time, which is cool. So, there we go, we actually take significantly less damage, but we're at -2 defense now, so Watchog for some reason just goes for Leer. It doesn't get one shot, but we land that paralysis with the Secret Power on the second turn after she heals up, and we are able to claim our second gym badge. So very, very nice. So if I worked up one more time, obviously it would have been a one-shot on the Watchog, but you know, I always run the risk of lowering my defense even more and taking a ton of damage, which is never good. So we're gonna see the Plasma Dude steal a skull for some reason. I'm still, jury's still out on that. So and then chase them into Pinwheel Forest. Making our way through Pinwheel Forest, we do battle one of the optional rangers, and we do actually see one of the extra effects of Secret Power there. In grassy areas, it actually gives a chance to sleep Pokemon. So after we knock out a couple wild Pokemon on the way, we're going to pick up the TM for Grass Knot, finish off the rest of the trainers here. The Plasma guy at the end is no problem, and we're going to also take out a couple of the bridge trainers so they're out of the way when we come back here for a rare candy later. Cross the Sky Arrow Bridge and head into Castelia City. As we enter into Castelia City, I'm feeling pretty good. We don't have to pick up the Eviolite, obviously, as a non-evolving Pokemon, but we're going to stop by this skyscraper, go up to the top, and talk to this guy, which is going to give us the TM for Rest. So I'm feeling pretty decent on our experience and stuff like that. We still have a few more trainers along the way, so we're going to take those out, head straight into the gym, and face off with Berg. Alright, time for Berg, baby. So he leads off with the Whirlwind. It is a little bit annoying. It does have poison points. However, one of the interesting things about Secret Power is it actually doesn't make contact. He does still poison us with a Poison Tail. However, we have Refresh, which is actually able to heal that poison, which is pretty cool. So Secret Power comes out. We don't have to worry about poison points. Secret Power comes out onto the Dwebble. It is a 2-shot, but we land the Paralysis, which is really nice. Levani is his last. It does a decent amount with the Razor Leaf. Doesn't even bring us into the red, though, and easy one-shot with our boosted up Secret Power means that we get our third badge just over a half an hour into the run and only holding onto that one blackout from Lenora. Very solid. You know, Audino is actually doing excellent right now. So we're going to head out towards Route 4, meet up with Bianca. She's not going to be an issue. We're going to do a little bit of training on the Fisherman and heal up at the house. Sharon, also not going to be much of an issue, and then we can continue on to Nimbasa City. Real quick though, before we get to Nimbasa, we do have to take a quick pit stop over here and grab the TM for Dig. This is obviously going to be very useful against Lenora, even though it's only going to hit one of our Pokemon. So let's continue on. After chasing off some plasma dudes back to the amusement park, we get a bike from some old dude and have a quick chat with Bianca before we're set free into Nimbasa City to do our regular chores. So first things first, we're going to stop by the Pokemon Center and pick up our team. This is going to be allowing us to use our HM friends along the way as well, of course, and fills our party for much later. But more importantly, though, we are going to be picking up the TM for return. This is going to be our go-to move, of course, as a normal type. It is an excellent stab that increases in power along with our friendship. So Audino, pretty happy dude, so we're looking pretty solid here. So we're going to stop by here, do a little bit of Pokemon dress up, pick up the rare candy over on Route 16 behind the cut tree, and then it's going to be time for our date with N. All right, time for N. So we have work up, we have return now. It's not quite max power, but it's pretty close. Usually with a Pokemon like Audino, that's just a regular happiness. We're somewhere around 90 base power at this point, which is plenty enough. So after a couple workups, we're just going to spam return and just power right through this fight right here. So Sigilyph is his bulkiest Pokemon, but it's still not enough, and it looks like it went for Whirlwind because we outsped it. There was no way that we were outspeeding it otherwise. So I'm going to take out the rest of the gym trainers right here. They're a little bit annoying with paralysis and static shenanigans, but without too much hassle and our healing items, we're going to be facing off with Elisa very soon. All right, Elisa time, baby. So even with our naive nature, we don't really have a hope of outspeeding anything. So we just have to hope for the best with our power. So we're going to set up a couple workups. Our good natural bulk, despite our minus special defense nature, is actually coming in clutch right here. So we're going to level up to 33 over a nice damage routing threshold, but I don't think that we really need it. We are powering through with return right now, which is nice. So just set up a couple workups, hit return. This is kind of the way it's going to go. We get staticked on the final Emolga, but the battle's already over, and that's not really going to impact much. So thankfully, our good natural bulk, it let us power through that fight and take multiple volt switches, which is cool. So we're going to continue on out of here, face off with Sharon on Route 4, which is pretty easy thanks to us having Dig now for the Pig Night, and beat up a couple toddlers and head into Driftvale City. Immediately as we enter into Driftvale City, we're going to go to the cold storage, pick up the PP up in the trash can, as well as the ether and the protein in the grass before heading inside. So sorry you don't get to hear the Driftfield music very long today because nothing else really happens. None of these trainers here are going to cause a problem. Plasma dudes are kicked out. We're going to pick up the expert belt right before we head into the gym, though, and then it's going to be time for us to face off with Clay. Alright, Clay time. So he does lead off with Croc. It doesn't have Intimidate, but it has a lot of other annoying moves that go along with it. It's like Torment and Swagger. So one Expert Belt boosted Grass Knot's going to knock it out, and that brings in the Palpitoad, which is very easily able to be set up on. So we're going to finish that off with a Grass Knot, and now we have Dig. Excadrill just wastes its time going for a Home Claws, and then 1+1 Dig is going to knock that out nice and cleanly, getting us our 5th gym badge just under an hour. Not too bad. So we're going to go ahead and get on out of here, stop by the Pokemon Center, pick up some Max Repels now that they're available, and Hyper Potions. Bianca's going to try to stop us on the way out of the city. She's not going to be a problem. And then we can head towards Route 6 and Charstone Cave. I wish I could tell you something more interesting happened, but we just kind of plowed through the entire gauntlet. We're facing off with N here right at the end, so we're going to set up a couple workups. Grass Knot's going to finish off the Boulder. He does have Steel types in the back, though, so we're going to have to keep those in mind. So Joltik's going to come out. That's just going to drop to a return, and then it's time for his Steel type. So Ferroseed does have excellent defense, but with return, we're actually able to critical hit hit on the following one after it set up an iron defense, we would have powered through it anyway. And then we can dig the Cling Clang and knock that out, which is nice. So after a quick chat with Juniper as well, we're going to head into Mistralton City and head towards the tower. I wish I could tell you something more interesting in the tower happened, but it really didn't. So we get to ring that bell at the top of the tower, send Skyla back to the gym, and it also gives me an opportunity to say, hey, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching these videos. We actually just recently broke 100 subs, which is awesome. I really appreciate that. So we're in triple digits now, but we're going to put a pause on that because we flew to Driftvale City, and that it means that we're going to be picking up the Shell Bell from this guy now that we've seen 50 Pokemon. So yeah, that's going to be really useful for us to get some nice passive healing along the way. So all right, continuing on, now we're flying back to Mistralton. So I do these solo challenge videos at least once a week, so if you haven't subscribed, maybe consider doing so. Right now, we're actually in like a little mini streaming marathon where we're speedrun racing with Speedrunner 0218, doing the Swords of Justice, and it's been really fun so far. So if you're watching this video on day of release, we'll actually be having another one to this evening with Virizion. Cabalion and Terrakion have been great so far, and I'm just really looking forward to that. So it's just been a fun time. So other than that, I stream on the weekends whenever I feel up to it. Usually do like Nuzlocke and stuff. So if you're interested in that, that's pretty cool. So anyway, let's go ahead and finish out the gym trainers here and face off with Skyla. All right, time for Skyla. Can you guess what we're going to do? We're going to set up work up and then spam return. Who would have thought? So work up's going to come out. We're going to return on the Swoobat. It's actually going to get the one shot, which is nice. Unpheasant, it actually lives just barely, but after she heals, we get a more favorable roll, and that's knocked out. So Swanna is going to set up an Aqua Ring just to waste its time, and we're able to take that out in one hit, level up to 44, and earn our 6th gym badge just over an hour. We are actually making excellent time with this Pokemon. Very pleasantly surprised so far by how Audino's doing. So we're going to get shot out of the cannon one more time and meet up with Sharon on Twist Mountain. So on paper, Sharon should be pretty easy. He does lead off with the Unpheasant, so we're going to set up some workups. Unfortunately, though, he goes for Taunt, so we're only stuck with one. So thankfully, that is enough for Return to get the one shot there. Pignite's going to come out. We got Dig, and that's going to wipe that out as well. And now that the Taunt is gone, I'm going to go ahead and set up a second workup on the Simisage. Honestly, probably didn't need it, but, you know, never hurts, right? So we level out to 45, get the chance to learn Simple Beam. Probably not going to come into play considering there's not really any double battles from here on out, and there we go, we're able to take him out. So Alder shows off his bionic legs and hits us up with the HM for Surf, which is definitely going to be very useful, and we continue on through the rest of Twist Mountain. So nothing interesting really happens. We're going to pick up the PP up here, though, behind the Excadrill trainer and pop out on the other side in Icarus City. Say it with me, folks. Bryson is an absolute joke. So we actually leveled up quite a bit in the gym to 48. So we're going to set up a whole bunch of workups right here. And now that we have Surf, we actually have a very strong special move. So those acid armors are not even going to save you. So unfortunately, we did take an accuracy drop there a couple times with the mirror shots, but that's not going to be enough to stop us. We're powering through with Return on the Beartic and Cryogonal, and there we go. So Bryson, you every single time you get a chance to do something, you just constantly fail. Good lord. So anyway, we're going to continue on to Dragon Spiral Tower. Nothing really interesting happens in the gauntlet there, which is really nice. We can check out N's fancy new dragon and then continue on towards the desert. Before that, though, when we fly back to Nimbasa, we're going to stop by the Pokemon Center and pick up the TM for Reflect. It's not going to come in handy until much later, but it's going to be really useful that we have it. So we're going to stop by the train station, get the Versus recorder from the girl, and then head over to Anvil Town, where we can pick up one more pretty quick rare candy before flying back and going through the gauntlet in the desert. Inside the Relic Castle, we're going to grab the TM for Shadow Ball, as well as a PP up before meeting Getsus on the bottom floor and having a chat. So before we leave, though, we're going to grab the Desert Candy, fly to Route 2, push a boulder out of the way and grab a rare candy there before meeting everybody at Nakreen, picking up a funny rock and one more rare candy in Pinwheel Forest before we continue on. Bianca meets us for one final time on Route 8, and we get to abuse the rain a little bit thanks to us having Surf, which is cool. So we're going to go ahead and work up a couple times right here, and then it's time to start spamming. So rain boosted Surf at +3 is easily going to plow right through that Stoutland Samurott. Same thing with a return right there, and we're constantly healing with that Shell Bell. So Sim is here. Sure, you're faster than us, but that's not really gonna matter. And Musharna, we got Shadow Ball just for you. So there we go. We can easily win this fight. We're even finished at full health thanks to our Shell Bell, and we continue on to Opelousas City. Alright, Drayden time. He's the finals gym leader. He leads off with a fracture. It does no Dragon Tail, so we can't set up too much. Risking that, but we're going to go ahead and go to +2. It just wastes its time with Dragon Dances, even when it's already faster than us, and there we go. We are able to just spam return. So a little bit of health loss with the rough skin right there, but no big deal. And then one more return onto the Haxorus is going to finish that off. And once again, we complete the battle at full health, thanks to that Shell Bell, and we have our 8th gym badge, and we can move on towards Route 10 and Victory Road. Before we face off with Sharon, we are going to do a little bit of more training on some of the trainers here. So this veteran, her Maractus randomly has Toxic for some reason. I don't know why. So we're able to take that out after workup. Same thing with Cragnal. Alamamul is going to come out, so we're going to return that down. It does barely live, and it hides underwater with Dive. However, we have Surf, and it's been a little while since I got to show off that fun little mechanic, so I thought it'd be kind of neat to show it. So we're going to heal up, and it's going to be time for us to face off with Sharon one more time. Alright, let's do this, Sharon. So, leads off with the Unpheasant as usual. It does have Taunt, Detect, all that fun stuff. So, we're going to work up. All it does is waste its time with a Razor Wind, which does not do very much damage. So, unfortunately, it wastes our time a little bit with the Detect. But we have Surf at +2 for the Embor. That's easily going to knock that out. Simisage as well goes down to a return, and we get to level 58, which is excellent. So Liepard as well is going to just hit us very weakly, and we can finish it off with a return to get a free heal right there, and we can move on to the rest of Victory Road. We make our way through the best badge check in the series, Don't At Me, and do a bunch of extra battles in Victory Road. At the end of it, we are going to be level 60 whenever we reach the league, and it is going to be time for us to take on the Elite Four. Let's do this. Caitlin's up first. She leads off with Reuniclus, and it does have Focus Blast, unfortunately, because we need to set up multiple workups. So Focus Blast does come out, does a ton of damage, and as you can see, Shadow Ball at +1 is just not quite enough. So we do need her to miss some Focus Blasts. However, unfortunately, today just doesn't seem to be the day. She hits Focus Blast after Focus Blast, and we crew up multiple resets. So let's see what it ended up needing to do to win this fight. So after 4 resets, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and spend all 7 of my rare candies right now. As you saw in those that first fight there, it is looking like a 2-hit KO for us to be able to live. With the extra levels with the bulk, we should be able to tank that hit a little bit better. So 5th time's the charm, I suppose, this time around. And look at that, it misses 2 Focus Blasts in a row. So thanks, Reuniclus. You're always a homie, bud. So yeah, that sucks. So but we have all of our power right now, so we're going to go ahead and just spam Shadow Ball, throughout through the rest of this battle and finish her off. So just kind of funny that, you know, if I just went in one more time, maybe she would have missed multiple focus blasts and I would have been able to set up. But anyway, moving on. Next up is Chantal. All right, time for Chantal. So the strategy is pretty much about the same here. We got work up, we got rest whenever we get low on health, and to counteract the burn. So we're gonna set up multiple workups. Resto, Chesto, my favorite combo in the game, and then we can start shadow balling. So Golurks can come out. That's gonna drop to a shadow ball. Who would have thought? Chandelure, same deal, does not even outspeed us thanks to all the levels we gained from those rare candies, and we can get to level 68 over a nice damage rounding threshold. So Jellicent as well drops to another shadow ball, and there we go, 2 down, 2 to go. All right, time for Grimsley. So leads off with the Scrafty. It is a fighting type, and it does have fighting type moves, but it also loves to spam Sand Attack, which is really annoying. So we have to set up multiple workups right here so we can finish off the rest of this team. So that gives him an opportunity to set up 2 sand attacks, which really sucks because we miss multiple times on the crocodile. But we break through after we're put into the red and be able to finish that off. So we do have Resto Chesto, so we're going to go ahead and do that on the Bisharp. Thankfully, we only miss once, and one more surf is going to finish that off, and all that's left is the Liepard. Waste our time with a fake out and a miss, but very easily we are able to win that and continue on. So thankfully, accuracy shenanigans did not come into play too much. Let's go. One final member. It's going to be our hardest challenge. Let's do this, Marshall. All right, Marshall, and at long last, that Reflect TM that we picked up is going to get put to use. So we're going to work up a couple of times here. Throw just tries to lower our speed with Bulldoze. He'll usually always do this whenever we're faster, which is nice. Hits us with just a weak payback as we set up Reflect, and even at -2 speed, we're actually faster than the Conkeldurr, and we can finish it off. Mienshao comes out, misses a jump kick, so no risk there whatsoever, and we can finish it off with a return. Very nice. So Sock, it does have sturdy full restore shenanigans. It's going to waste out the last few turns of our Reflect, but that's okay. Once he finally attacks, he does hit with a critical hit Karate Chop, doing about half. But there we go. So yeah, the jump kick miss was definitely big, but thanks to the Reflect and our Shell Bell recovery, we actually would have been able to power through, as long as that didn't crit, of course. So let's go ahead and meet up with N and the final fight here with Alder. N summons his gigantic castle out of the ground somehow, and it is up to us to chase him down through it because Alder couldn't hack it. So yeah, so we're gonna do that, pick up one more rare candy in his room, and then meet the man himself in the throne room. By having a full party, we could deny adding Reshiram to it, so we can lead off Red Eyes Black Dragon versus Marshmallow. So we're gonna have to set up a couple workups here, obviously, just waste our time a little bit with some light screen, and then it critical hits us with a fusion bolt, which really sucks. So we're gonna try to rest here. I'm not rocking Resto Chesto this time around, but unfortunately Zekrom just decides, you know what, I've had enough of this, and critical hits once again. So we do unfortunately take one more reset. We have to recatch our Reshiram, but pretty easy with the Master Ball, and then it's going to be time for take 2 with N. All right, let's go N, take 2. So it leads off with Zekrom. Audino comes out. We're going to set up some workups and hopefully don't get crit this time. So Fusion Bolt's doing not as much, thankfully. It's doing about a quarter, which is nice. So I set up to +2, and now it's time for us to go to town. So Return is actually going to knock out that Zorg disguised as the Clink Clang, and then the real Clink Clang comes out, so we got Surf for that. So it's not quite a one-shot, but it just misses a Hyper Beam. Let's go. So Vanillix comes out. We're going to go ahead and finish that off with a couple boosted return, and then Caracosta. So we go for return to break the sturdy, don't waste our time with healing that way, and then we finish it off with one more surf. And there we go. We have fully healed ourselves almost completely. Stone Edge just misses with the Archeops. We would have been able to live that regardless. I'm pretty sure even with a crit and one more surf. Finishes it off, winning us the fight. But Getsus is going to throw his little temper tantrum, and it's going to be up to us to take him down. All right, let's go Getsus. So he has a Cofagrigus. The Cofagrigus is a bit of a troll, likes to go for toxic protect shenanigans, but we have rest, and it is nowhere near as threatening as that Zekrom, so no worries. So we're just going to set up multiple workups, rest, and just kind of chill here and wait until we wake up. So he does absolutely nothing to us, just going for some protects, and there we go. We are off to the races. Hydra does have Focus Blast, does land, but doesn't even do half, and now it is time for us to start healing with that Shell Bell. Let's go. So Seismitoad comes out, it doesn't even outspeed us, which is nice as well. And Bisharp, of course, we have Surf for that, so boosted. It's going to get that one shot. Very cool. Electros is his last, and we finish that off. And there we go. We complete there, almost back at full health. I tell you guys, Shell Bell is a godsend for some of these slower Pokemon. Let's go. So yeah, after Getsus gets carted off, we do end our time at the end of End's final dialogue when the credits start. So yeah, honestly, let's look at that time. Holy crap, this little guy got sub 2 hours. I am incredibly impressed. So looking at this Pokemon, it does not have the best offenses, sure, but it has all the tools that it needs to make for a good time. And there we go. We clock in with a final time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 26 seconds. Hell yeah. So this is actually very surprising to me how well this Pokemon did. It's bulk plus being able to set up with workup and good coverage thanks to TMs were just all the right pieces that it needed to win, which is awesome. So however though, let's see where it lands on the tier list. So we finish off the credits, get our final in-game time of 4 hours and 36 minutes before we bring in the tier list right here. So Audino actually lands itself near the top of the A tier, right behind Crocodile, but more impressively in front of Emboar. Let's go. So granted, Emboar is a very early run, and I guarantee you that I could do way better with that Pokemon nowadays with all the experience that I've built up, but still very impressive for little Audino. I am pleasantly surprised by how well this dude did. And yeah, just the power of stab return, workup, good defenses, able to take multiple hits and be able to continue going. And the extra coverage that we got from the TMs and HMs along the way was excellent for this Pokemon. I'm very pleasantly surprised by how well Audino did, and I think it definitely earned that A-tier placement. So however, next week we are going to be continuing on, because if you notice on this tier list, we are missing one type to be represented, and that is going to be the Dragon type. We are going to be fixing that with running Haxorus. Let's go. I love Haxorus. It is easily one of my favorite Pokemon from this entire generation, and it's going to be a ton of fun to run. And you definitely want to stop by for that video for sure. So anyway, that's going to be it for me today, though, guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Were you as excited about how well Audino did as I was? Let me know down in the comments, and be sure to come back next week as we check out Haxorus. So, but yeah, like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. I love you all. Deuces.